This is Team 1's China Country Analysis presentation by Patrick Rogers, Ezekiel Sims, and myself, Raven Miller. This is our team's outline. Ezekiel will lead us off, talking about the country's background. Then we'll into the business practices. He'll hand you back to myself, who will discuss the economic situation. I'll give you to Patrick, where he'll talk about the country's competitiveness and healthcare. And then he'll give you back to me, and we'll talk about some recommendations and wrap it up with a conclusion.
China's background. China is located in the Southeast Asia along the coastline of the Pacific Ocean. China is bordered by 14 different countries. China is the fourth largest country after Russia, Canada, and United States. It's slightly smaller than the United States. China actually has 3 different independent states. The most recent one that is recognized is the People's Republic of China, that was established October 1st, 1949. Before the People's Republic of China independence was the unification, which it was under the Qin dynasty, which was 2120 BC, and then was replaced by Republic of China, which was the January 1st, 1912. The capital city of China is Beijing, although the largest city of China is Shanghai. Beijing is among the most populated capital city in the world. China's current president is Xi Jinping. Jinping became president of China in 2012, ushering in an era of increased assertiveness and authoritism. Even though China's political ideology is communist-led party state, China has a new official political doctrine for a new ideology for a new era. It is called the Xi Jinping thought. This doctrine is the blueprint of consolidating and strengthening power at 3 levels: the nation, the party, and Jinping himself. China government abolished the president term limit back in 2018. This means that President Jinping could remain in power indefinitely. For China to continue to sustain their global rise, President Jinping has modernized China military and investing heavily in trillions of dollars in international trade incentives, known as Belt and Road. He has expanded the size and scope of his military, purged corrupt officers, and built military installations in contested waters of the South China Sea. Xi Jinping thought promotes the supremacy of the Communist Party to growing numbers of avid consumers, internet users, and the world travelers, a group fundamentally different from the workers and peasants who were supposed to be the communist revolution. President Jinping's philosophy touches goals of a powerful unified China that can be achieved by their Communist Party, staying firm and in control of China. China's business practices. China's official language is standard Chinese or Mandarin, with very other recognized languages. When it comes to the literacy rate, male versus female, it's 96% overall, 98% being men and 94.5% being women. In 2015, the literacy rate was defined as people aged 15 and above who can read and write and had reached about 96.4% in China. The literacy rate has developed from 79% in 1982 to 97% in 2010. That is just about 1 million people per year that have become literate over the past 3 decades. This dramatic increase in literacy rate in China has to do with efficiencies of numerous political, economic, and educational policies. The time zone that China falls under is CST, which stands for China Standard Time, which is plus 12 hours in Washington, D.C. When it comes to work days per week, they normally work 5 days per week, some 6 days per week. China also operates with 3 main work hour systems: the standard work hour system, the comprehensive work hour system, and the non-fixed, also known as flexible. The standard work hour system requires to work no more than 8 hours, an average work week no more than 40 hours. White-collar jobs in China operate with this system. Employees get at least one rest day per week. Comprehensive work hour system accumulates work hours over a specific cycle, such as weekly, monthly, quarterly, or yearly. The average hours are determined based on accumulation periods. This system is more suited for irregular shifts, seasonal jobs, or projected base work. There are no rest days outlined underneath this system. The non-fixed, also known as flexible work hour system, accommodates employees' working hours that are impractical to measure. Their employees on such a work hour system will generally get paid as salaried employees. This salary is a set amount paid per period, often monthly in China. When it comes to lunchtime and breaks, many cities around China have a 2-hour lunch break, which allows people enough time to eat lunch and then take a nap. The exchange rate for a 1 US dollar is 6.71094 current CNY. 1 CNY is 0.149010 in US dollars.
China's economic situation. 9% of China's GDP is spent on boosting the economy's infrastructure. In 2013, China launched an initiative called One Belt, One Road, which would be the history's largest global infrastructure project. China will spend $150 billion a year to link 68 countries along the old Silk Road with Europe. Additionally, it will build ports, railways, and pipelines, and it plans to make a China-dominated Eurasia an economic rival to the American-dominated transatlantic trading areas. China's president has 4 main objectives for the project as follows, which is provide investments for China's foreign exchange reserves, provide new markets for China's high-speed rail firms, cement, steel, and metal exports, stabilize countries on China's western border, and increase China's claims in the South China Sea. In other recent news, China and the United States wrapped up trade talks on March 29th of this year, stating they were constructive, but discussions towards trade deals will continue in April of this year, this time in Washington, D.C. State-owned enterprises saw new reform to policy as a new law on investment was approved by the NPC as they tried to smooth things over with the United States as trade negotiations continue. Additionally, China's economy is expected to grow by 6.2% throughout 2019 and fall to only a 6% growth in 2020. China's monthly minimum wages range from 1,120 to 2420 CNY, or roughly 167 to 361 US dollars. The yearly wages are 74,318 CNY, which equals to 11,074 US dollars. As of 2018, in December, the unemployment rate was 3.8%, and in February of 2019, the inflation rate was 1.5%. The official exchange rate GDP of China in 2017 was 12.01 trillion, while the real growth rate GDP was 6.9%, and the per capita GDP was 16,700. China's GDP purchasing power parity was 23.21 trillion and ranked the country number 1 in the world. The country's GDP composition by sector consists of agriculture at 7.9%, industry at 40.5%, and services at 51.6%. In gross value of agricultural output, China leads the world, and their agricultural products consist of rice, wheat, potatoes, corn, tobacco, peanuts, tea, apples, cotton, pork, mutton, eggs, fish, and shrimp. China also leads the world in industrial output. Industrial products consist of mining, ore processing, iron, steel, aluminum, and other metals, coal, machine building, armaments, textiles and apparel, petroleum, cement, chemicals, fertilizer, Consumer products, food processing, transport equipment including automobiles, rail cars, and locomotives, ships, and aircraft, telecommunications equipment, commercial space launch vehicles, and satellites. China also saw a 6.1% growth in industrial products in 2017. Additionally, China's natural resources consist of coal, iron ore, petroleum, natural gas, mercury, tin, tungsten, antimony, manganese, molybdenum, vanadium, magnetite, aluminum, lead, zinc, rare earth elements, uranium, and the world's largest hydropower potential in arable land. In 2017, China imported 1.74 trillion in commodities, including such items as electrical and other machinery, integrated circuits, and computer components, oil and mineral fuels, optical and medical equipment, metal ores, motor vehicles, and soybeans, while exports totaled 2.216 trillion and included commodities such as electrical and other machinery, computers, and telecommunications equipment, apparel, furniture, and textiles. China's major import partners include South Korea at 9.7%, Japan at 9.1%, the United States at 8.5%, Germany at 5.3%, and Australia at 5.1%, while China's major export partners include the U.S. at 19%, Hong Kong at 12.4%, Japan at 6%, and South Korea at 4.5%.
Thank you. This is Patrick Rogers, and I'll be covering competitiveness. China's current economic freedom is ranked 58.4 and stands 100th freest economy in the world. Of the 43 countries in the Asia-Pacific region, China is only ranked at 20, which leaves its overall score below the average in both the region and the world. China's property rights index are ranked at 49.9, integrity is ranked at 49.1, and its judicial effectiveness is ranked at 75.2. The country has significantly improved in these areas over the past 10 years and is forecasted to continue upward. The education system in China consists of primary, secondary, vocational, and tertiary schools. Primary school in China is mandatory, lasts for 6 years, and starts at the age of 7, with the school year lasting from September to July. There are examinations in Mandarin and mathematics, which are held at the end of primary education. Secondary education is broken down into 2 levels. The lower level finishes with examination and completes the compulsory education requirements. After concluding the lower level of secondary school, students have to select to enter general or senior secondary academics or a vocational program. Vocational programs begin in secondary school and continue to post-secondary school and prepare the students directly for a job skill or training. The tertiary or higher education follows secondary education, consists of university studies and different levels of degrees, which are equivalent to the bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. But admittance is very competitive in these areas. China's infrastructure consists of airports and heliports, communications networks, ports and terminals, railways, roadways, and waterways. China has 507 airports. Air travel within mainland China is generally connected through major international hubs of Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. The Beijing Capital Airport hosts over 70 airlines with connections to over 200 cities over the world and is the busiest airport in Asia with 96 million passengers annually. Additionally, China has 47 heliports. China has in excess of 1.47 billion cellular phone subscribers with 107 subscribers per 100 inhabitants and 193 million fixed phone line subscriptions and 14 subscriptions per 100 inhabitants. This ranks China number 1 in both categories. The country has over 730 million internet users, accounting for 53.2% of the nation's population, and is ranked number 1 in the world. Additionally, 80% of the country's internet consumers use their mobile devices to connect to the internet. Privately owned TV and radio stations are non-existent in China, as the government controls all broadcast media within the country and offers over 2,000 channels. All foreign-made TV programs must be approved before they can be broadcasted. China has 8 major ports, with the largest being Shanghai. In 2016, Shanghai Port was the world's busiest port with the capabilities to handle 35 million 20-foot equivalent containers per year and has plans for increased capacity. China also hosts 7 import terminals and 1 river terminal. Additionally, there is 110,000 kilometers of navigable waterways, which consist of rivers, canals, and numerous coastal lagoons. China's roadways amasses over 4.5 million miles, with over 4.1 million paved and an additional 531,000 remain unpaved. This ranks China number 3 globally. In 2011, 78 million vehicles traveled in China's road systems, which is roughly 1/3 as many as we have in the United States a year. However, China had roughly 70,000 police-confirmed deaths in 2011, which was 2 times the amount that the United States had. Healthcare in China is provided by the central government through the National Healthcare Legislation, Policy, and Administration. It is guided to the principle that every citizen is entitled to receive basic healthcare services, with local governments, provinces, prefectures, cities, counties, and towns responsible for providing them, with variations for local circumstances. China spends roughly 5.6% of the country's GDP on healthcare and has 3 main types of publicly financed insurance: urban employment-based medical insurance, urban resident basic medical insurance, and the new cooperative medical scheme for rural residents. Urban employment-based insurance is financed primarily by the employer and employee taxes, while urban resident basic insurance is financed through both regional and local governments and is provided in regions with less developed economies. The major causes of medical-related deaths in the country are stroke, heart disease, COPD, lung cancer, and Alzheimer's disease. China's degree of risk for major infectious diseases is intermediate, with bacterial diarrhea, hepatitis A, and typhoid fever being the major risks. Hospitals in China vary and can range from public to private and can be both nonprofit or for-profit. In urban areas, most hospitals are public and private are both public and private and exist as secondary and tertiary, while in rural township, hospitals or clinics are mainly public. As of 2014, 13,314 public hospitals and 12,546 private hospitals existed, and 17,705 were nonprofit, while for-profit accounted for 8,155. However, this number did not include township and community hospitals. As of 2014, the number of public primary care facilities was 491,885, while the number of private village clinics reached 425,450. There are 3.63 physicians per 1,000 people and 4.2 hospital beds per 1,000 patients. Thank you.
Alright, some recommendations. A few recommendations we considered involve improving business practices, the economy, infrastructure, and healthcare. As for business practices and the economy, they are often woven together or directly affect one another. China should figure out how to increase the minimum wage for the country's employees across all regions. They should also work to not only build or boost the economy, but to increase the power behind the Chinese renminbi, so that it will increase the purchasing power. However, this does mean if the purchasing power of the CNY increases, everything tied to it will increase or will lead to inflation. China should work to stabilize their economy. They should work towards improving better trade deals and partnerships with import and export countries, as well as working towards new partnerships, treaties, and easing opportunities to attract businesses wanting to enter into the country. China should spend some time and revamp their investment rules and laws. China should also be thinking about the future, as Europe has already implemented 20, 30, and 40-year plans to decrease their economy's dependency on fossil fuels and internal combustion engines, and as well to reduce carbon and pollution. China should look towards moving to a more cleaner operating country, as they do have the largest population and more vehicles than any other country. As for competition, China should work to improve their property rights, government integrity, judicial effectiveness, business freedom, labor laws, or labor freedom, monetary freedom, trade freedom, investment freedom, and financial freedom. In addition, they need to decrease the tax burden and rethink areas of government spending, as the country's debt is steadily increasing. China could stand to benefit from an investor looking into the country. However, many companies are not attracted to enter a country where they have no or minimal property rights, investment rights, protections, freedoms, and where the government and judicial branches are corrupt. Healthcare. While China does have healthcare plans, the rural and townships have minimal facilities and methods of care. Many of these diseases can be linked to improvements needed in housing, farming, and water systems, or basic infrastructure improvements. Others can be mitigated by using prevention measures such as vaccinations, which again, the townships or rural areas possibly do not have the means to acquire, keep, and distribute. Some of the medical issues, such as strokes and health diseases in the rural and township areas, potentially like being educated on ways to prevent or minimize the risk associated with them. Additionally, if individuals do suffer from a stroke in the rural or township areas, many clinics do not or may not be equipped to deal with such life-threatening emergencies. In conclusion, we discussed the country's background, business practices, economic situation, competitiveness, healthcare, and recommendations. The next 3 slides are our references. I hope you enjoyed our presentation, as this concludes our China country analysis.